Mr. Robin Harman, you are the Global Network Director for HSBC Insurance. How long have you been with the company?
I've been with HSBC for 22 years, and during my time I've spent 17 years of those overseas, running our overseas operations in Cyprus and Dubai.
How has the company changed in those years?
In the time that I joined, we were branded as our corporate entity was Gibbs Hartley Cooper. They were two traditional names in the London market, and we were 400 staff at that point in time. We've extended now 2,300 staff, and unlike many of our peers in the London market, have not done that through acquisition.
Would you please describe any example of your work in the south of the U.S.?
I think one particular instance, which I think is very interesting, particularly as it's hurricane season here now, we work very closely with our partner in New Orleans, who has a client who actually was able to create a vessel which lifts wrecks off the bottom of the ocean in the Gulf of Mexico. It's a very unique scenario. They came to London, brought with them the engineers. We sat there with an underwriter, and we got them to agree to be able to create the policy that would work for this particular vessel. It's had so much work over the last 2 years. They're now building a sister vessel to this as well, and I'm sure it would be a great asset in order to try and clear some of the wrecks that are sitting on the Gulf of Mexico.
What are the advantages for you to belong to the Assurix Group?
Oh, it's very important for us to be able to deliver local service on behalf of our corporate clients wherever they may operate. It's a key part of the proposition that we need to deliver out to the clients.
Do you find it an important way of developing personal relationships with clients, or?
Meetings like the one that we're currently having, the annual shareholders meeting, is very important in terms of networking with partners and being able to talk to a client and say, I personally met somebody, had a cup of coffee with them, had lunch with them, had breakfast with them. That's very important to be able to deliver. Some of the other networks aren't able to do that. They don't deliver that personal touch, so it's very important.
When you consider the importance of the personal touch from a business sense, I get the feeling that the industry is not totally unified or harmonized, that you have to be able to look at specific situations and respond to them in an individual manner. Is that correct?
Absolutely spot on. We are able to access reports about countries around the world on a fairly easy basis, but it does not in any way, shape or form replace the personal touch. You can get the research, but if you go to a place in Central and Eastern Europe, Hungary, Poland, Czech Republic, they might be part of the same region, but they won't necessarily have the same legislation, they won't necessarily have the same statutory covers, and it's important that you have access to the local partner to give you that information.
As you're trying to acquire a new client in some field, are there any kind of case histories that you cite that come to mind where a company would have benefited from a service that you provide?
Well, there are a whole variety of services that we would provide as HSBC, but again, coming back to the network, one of the things that we do need to continue to demonstrate is the knowledge of that other partner. We had a case recently where we actually got partners who were in the key territories for the client to do individual videos, which we're able to post on our online collaboration site, Passport, that our network has. And we were able to demonstrate that to the client, so he had individual personal videos from our partners in different places talking about the services that they would provide locally.
Did it work?
Yes, it was fantastic. Really well received by the client.
That's great, because as a client of HSBC, then I can immediately have a global perspective that would be difficult for another company to provide. I mean, your network is so extensive.
I mean, as HSBC insurance brokers, we don't have an extensive retail network ourselves. We might be one of the bigger partners in Assurix Global, but our retail capability is really UK, Middle East and Asia. And we really need to make sure that we have competent partners in many other territories to be able to support those clients' needs.
I'm surprised. Why aren't you more spread out in Europe itself?
As an insurance broking outfit, we've never really ventured out that way, and now that we've been part of this network since 1999, we have some very competent partners who are leading brokers in those territories. Why should we go out and compete with them when we don't need to?
Where are your fastest growing areas?
I would think the fastest growing for us would be the Middle East and Asia. Those two areas are very strong for us. In the Middle East, we have recently opened offices in Saudi Arabia and in Qatar. We're in the process of applying for a license. But the Middle East has just a phenomenal growth. And Asia, obviously China, we've opened 3 offices in China in the last 3 years.
What are the products that are most in demand?
It's very difficult when you're an insurance broker to define specifically by products, but I suppose amongst the leading things that we have to think about, where you have a corporate that's operating, a corporate client that's operating in a number of different countries, is their general liabilities, whether it's the directors and officers or their errors and omissions. That's quite an important thing to manage when you have people operating in different countries.
The future of Asia and the Middle East, you must regard in very positive terms.
Yes, I think so. I mean, I think the Middle East in particular, places like Dubai where I spent 6 years, the reinvestment of the petrodollar has been phenomenal. And I think it's quite interesting to see. But they've got competition with their neighbours. Qatar, Bahrain, Kuwait, Oman are all got similar projects underway and have the opportunity to compete with each other. So it blends itself as a natural expansion for us as a service industry to be able to support this expansion.
How do you see the future of the global economy? Do you think that this growth will strengthen it overall, benefiting?
I'd like to think so. I'd like to think that certainly where we've got reinvestment, it should strengthen the local economies, which can only strengthen the global economy too.
Do you feel that the trading routes are secure?
I would say that one thing I do see is a significant investment overseas from some of these areas, from the Middle East, from China, from the Far Eastern countries. Part of my job is to manage people connecting with each other, and I do find on a regular basis that we have inquiries coming out from China that need support in Algeria or Libya or and some interesting countries around Africa and the emerging countries. And likewise in the Middle East, we have clients now that are investing their money outside. I think the Chrysler building was acquired, or part of it was acquired, by a Middle Eastern corporation not that long ago. And these things are occurring, so I'm asked by our offices to try and help find solutions for them.
How about even in the Southeast U.S.? Should you get an inquiry about some sort of investment in this part of the world, would you contact an Insurance partner? Because you do not have much of a presence.
No, we wouldn't be our own offices.
Southeast.
I mean, the first thing I would be is on the phone to Jeff McCart, asking him, and likewise vice versa. If he picks up there's investment coming in from one of the territories where we're based, there's a communication that starts to see how we can work together, even if it's not an existing client, how we can actually show that we can support that investment from both ends.